Ms. White, I was asking you about the second face-to-face conversation. I believe your response was is that there were other conversations that were not face-to-face between those between the two face-to-face meetings.
Correct.
Were these conversations on the phone?
Yes.
Okay, tell us about these conversations.
I became what I felt like was one of Hemy's best friends. He confided in me about things that were going on with he and his relationship with his wife, the counselors that they were going to, the suggestions by the counselors.
Let me stop you. When you say the counselors, what type of counselors?
Marital counselors.
Okay, go ahead.
And he would discuss with me, I'm not sure if he had, I believe he may have told me the first name of the person that he was fond of at work, but he never told me the last name. And he would discuss different emails and things that were going on with that relationship.
Okay. Is this the sum and substance of those phone calls, or is there anything else in the phone calls?
That was pretty much it.
All right. Let's talk about the second face-to-face conversation. Where did y'all meet the second time?
At Perimeter Mall in the food court.
And when was the second conversation again?
I believe October
Of what year?
2010.
And who asked for this meeting, you or Hemy?
Hemy.
And did he say why he wanted to meet face-to-face?
Just to talk more in depth about things between he and his wife and between he and Andrea.
What did he tell you when you met with him?
Well, he told me he valued my opinion, and he told me that they had a trip that was planned for London, and that was it was Yom Kippur of that year. So it must have been a September meeting, because that's when Yom Kippur was, and that they were leaving on Yom Kippur, which I felt was odd, given that we're all Jewish and that's like the holiest day of the year.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you. What exactly is Yom Kippur?
It is the ending of our 10-day New Year's celebration. We have a 10-day period, and it's called the Day of Atonement.
Okay.
And that's when most Jewish people are in temple. We fast, and we're in temple all day, and we are repenting for the sins of the previous year.
And that is a Jewish religious holiday?
It very much, probably the most religious of the year.
He left to go to London on Yom Kippur.
Kippur,
All
yes.
Right. Tell us about the London trip and what he told you.
He told me that he and Andrea were going to London for business.
He and who?
He and Andrea
Okay.
were going to London for business.
Now let me stop you. Earlier you stated that you didn't know the name of the person he was having an affair with. Did he say that this was the person that he was having an affair with, because you just mentioned the first name, Andrea?
At some point, he did tell me her first name.
Okay. On business, what else did he tell you?
That was about it. He told me he was excited.
Did you talk about anything else other than the upcoming London trip?
I don't recall.
Okay. What was his personality like, his demeanor like at this meeting?
Same old Hemy.
Same old Hemy. Had he spoken with you about any delusions that he had been having?
No.
Did he tell you in February of that year, 2010, that he had attempted suicide?
No.
Did he seem depressed?
No.
Same old Hemy.
Yes.
Anything else we need to know about that was said at this meeting?
No.
All right. At some point in time, did you and he have, after this, did you and he being Hemy, have discussions about the trips that he and Andrea were taking?
Yes.
And when is that? When did y'all have this conversation?
After the trips, he would call me and tell me how the trips went, tell me how their time was together and what they did.
Did he do this after every trip?
Yeah. No, he did this after London and after Greenville. I was not aware of any of the Colorado trips.
Okay, let's start with London. When y'all talked after the London trip, was it face-to-face?
No.
How was it?
Phone.
On the phone. What did he tell you about the London trip?
That he and Andrea got closer. I believe that was when, I believe that was the time that he said that he and Andrea had decided that they were soulmates. He also told me that Andrea was adamant that she would not leave her husband and her 2 kids, and he continually asked me what I thought he should do.
Let me take you back to a comment you just made. You said he and Andrea. Did you get the impression that he was saying both of them decided they were soulmates?
Yes.
What did you tell him he should do?
Go back to his wife and leave Andrea alone to be with her husband and her kids. I continually told him that.
And how did he respond?
He never paid attention to what I said.
When you say he didn't pay attention,
He heard me.
Okay.
He heard me, but that's not what he wanted to hear.
Did he say anything when you said go back to your wife?
I believe he said I suggested that they go to a counselor and try and get their marriage back together.
And how did he respond when you made that suggestion?
Relly had been asking that as well, so they did go to counseling.
Okay.
And he did call me often when he was going to the counselor, when he would leave the counselor, and just let me know how the meeting went.
Now, I just want to make sure I'm clear. Are these marriage counselors?
Yes, yes, marriage.
And you mentioned the name Relly.
Relly, that's Hemy Neuman.
I know you know who that is.
How is she related to? Is she related to the defendant?
She was his wife, or is his wife.
Do you know Relly?
Yes, I knew Relly.
Have you met her before?
Sure, I sold her the house.
Okay. Let's go back to London. The conversation about the London trip.
Yes.
Did he tell you about the accommodations, meaning where he was staying and where Andrea was staying at the hotel in London?
They were staying at the same hotel.
Okay. Did he tell you whether or not they actually ended up in the same room at some point?
I believe that's when they had adjoining rooms.
They had adjoining rooms. Do you know, did he tell you whether or not he actually ever went into her room or she came into his room?
I believe she came into his room.
You believe that because he told you that?
I believe that that's when it was, yes.
And what did he say what happened when she came into his room in London?
This was a long time ago. I believe that was when he said that they laid on the bed and cuddled and did just about everything but have intercourse.
Did he use those words, or was...
No, those weren't his words.
What words did he use?
That they kissed and they fondled each other, and then she got up and went into the bathroom.
Is that what he said?
Yes.
Did he tell you what she actually did in the bathroom?
Yes, he told me that she went into the bathroom to, quote, finish herself off.
Finish herself off?
Yes.
Did you ask him what he meant by that?
I didn't have to.
Well, why didn't you have to?
Because I assumed that that meant that she was going into the bathroom to masturbate.
What was his overall impression of the London trip? Did he have a good time?
Yes.
What did you say when he told you that they had done everything but have sex and she actually went in the bathroom and masturbated?
I told him to leave her alone.
And how did he respond?
That they became very much closer, and he didn't say he was going to leave her alone or not leave her alone. He just went into how close they got and how they could finish each other's sentences, and that was about it.
Did he appear to be in love to you?
Yes. Infatuated.
Let's talk about the Greenville trip. Did y'all ever have a conversation about Greenville?
Yes.
And when did this conversation take place?
He called me when he was on his way to pick Andrea up to go to Greenville.
Do you remember what month that was in?
October. because London was September, which was Yom Kippur, so this would have been October.
Okay. And what did he say when he was on his way to pick up Andrea for the Greenville trip?
That he was really excited and that they had adjoining rooms and that they were going to have a nice couple days together.
How did you respond?
I don't remember.
Did he call you when he got back?
He called me from Greenville, I believe.
Okay. Tell us about that conversation.
I believe that was when he said that they had, they went to the lake and sat at the lake and talked, and then they went, had a drink, and then they went back up and had a really nice dinner, and then they went back upstairs to the hotel room, and they ended up in the same hotel room. I don't know which room.
Did he tell you what happened once they ended up in the same hotel room?
What he told me was that she gave in.
She gave in. Is that what he said?
Yes.
Did he tell you what he meant by she
No.
gave in?
No,
What did you believe he meant?
I believed he meant that they had intercourse.